My name is Angelo Lopez. Today I'll be speaking with my good friend Viviana Leija-Sysak and stuff. And today we'll be talking about our love of public libraries, especially the Sunnyvale Public Library. So thank you, Viviana, for taking the time to talk to me today.
You're welcome, Angelo. It's a pleasure. Great topic.
Oh, sure, thank you. And a disclaimer. For 30 years, I worked in the Sunnyvale Public Library and other public libraries. So be forewarned and stuff. So, okay. Let me ask my first question to you and stuff. What was your earliest experiences like in a library, and what were your favorite childhood books?
Well, I was thinking about that when you sent me the questions before, and this is very odd to say, but I'm going to be truthful. I mean, I could just say something different, but the reality is that my parents barely took me to the library when I was a child, because the libraries where I'm from, Mexico, at that time, when I was a younger kid, did not operate that they operate now. When you go to a library, it was all silent, adults. Books are very restricted. You have to make sure that you know what you. It's not like now that you go in and you have the, picture books, the board book, that you have games. Everybody, like, it was different. So I was raised mostly buying books, right? So we did have quite a collection of books at home. Yeah. And if you ask me which one was my favorite, maybe because I'm very graphic in many ways, I love the ones that my parents will get that had a 3D. So you will open and then you will see the castle. And there was like this Disney collection, I guess.
Kind of like pop-up.
Yes, so it's like Snow White or Cinderella, and then you open and the castle will come, or the shoe. I'm still to this point memorized by them. I love 3-dimensional books for some reason, like the fairy ones that you open and pop up. Yeah. So those are my faves when I was a child, for sure. I could spend hours just looking at all the visual details and then, reading and trying to match what was there.
Yeah. Well, those are very artistic books and stuff.
They are.
Did that push you to want to become an artist, or?
I don't know if that was part of the first layer that was, forming at that time, because you are not certain when you are a little child what you're going to be. Like, we ask. I mean, I always like the graphic things, but I would also say I would like to be an astronaut just because he was, in vogue, right? Or you start thinking what else. But for sure, I have an affinity with visuals. Yeah. I've noticed that I capture them pretty well. I'm really good with faces, remembering people, like the face. I could maybe not connect the name, but the faces, it's like, oh yeah, and think so. That's the way, I kind of start liking. I also like the stories behind, but those were the ones that I remember impacted me the most.
Oh, okay.
That type of books.
Oh, okay. When did you start going to a library? Was it later? It was later?
Yeah, later. When I was, my high school had one library that I remember attending for needs. But then when I was even a little bit older, the first few years in my university, I remember being in the library for a long time, because I was researching actually things that were part of my just visual concerns. So I was in the library long times looking at iconography, what it meant, myths about this, how this civilization created their own, ways of communicating. I was in love with all that. So I remember, taking lots of books about that.
Yeah. When I was younger, the library helped me learn about artists and art history, right, and stuff. So I learned about it was actually later in life that I went to museums, but in the early days, because libraries were free, art books were sort of my gateway to learning about art and stuff. So was that with you too? Because it sounds like when you were learning about the iconography, that was your education on art, was the books.
Yeah, well, by that time I was already there. But yeah, if I move a little bit before, I would get books again from the ones we had at home, because again, my parents liked having a kind of our own library, and there were a lot about art history, and I
Oh,
remember
wow.
even drawing some of the images that were in those books. So I was reading about, I don't know, medieval art, etc., and I try to imitate whatever image was there. I do remember doing that a lot. So yeah, books definitely were a way for me to sustain more what art was, art history.
Yeah, yeah. It
Mhm.
sounds like you came from an artistic family.
Kind of, yes. My dad is an architect, and my mom went to literature. She well, now
Nice.
retired, but French professor. Yeah.
Oh,
So she
that's so
liked
cool.
letters. She had always been a person. She writes, actually, still. She writes poems and things. So yeah, I think there was something underneath that pushed me forward to, feel capable of doing some kind of career in the arts.
Oh, that's so cool and stuff. So, oh, I'm curious, what are some services that are using right now in the public library? And what do you like specifically about the Sunnyvale Public Library?
Well, for sure, it is mostly my children enjoying the library itself. So every time we go, normally it's because they want a new book, etc. They have been actually taking advantage of the library since they were born, because the library offers so much for those first years, from special story times, special areas for them, even the bedrooms, right? You know that they're only for children, so it feels like a very special space, and we use them quite because of that. um, Myself, I've been using it too for my own teaching. I do teach art, and sometimes I go and get a few books on, you know, collage, or a new technique in art, or how to introduce kids to masterpieces. And I start learning myself too through those books, and just connecting what I'm doing. So everybody enjoys it. Our favorite definitely is the children area by far. But, there are so many other spaces that are available, right, for everybody that needs it. There was a time that we didn't have internet for some reason, and I need something in the library, so they do have that available, right? So it's great.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Is there a favorite, are they liking right now chapter books, picture books right now, your kids or
Well, they are spread around, so but the youngest is definitely into um, kind of the easy read chapter books.
yeah, yeah. Okay.
So that's where he is, and that's the one that I kind of, how can I say, we use the most for the library, because there are so many chapters and they go so fast, right? That is just easier to go to the library and find them
Yeah.
first, because they have them all. And sometimes even if you look at a bookstore, they may have just a few of that same series, right? But the libraries normally hold most of them, and if they don't have it right away, they can call each other, which I love that they link
Yeah.
themselves. And yeah, so but it's chapters depending. We were like, last year it was all Harry Potter, so we were all
Oh,
reading, and then kind of it changes every year. They get in love with something else. So
I'm ashamed to say it, but I have yet to read Harry Potter and stuff. But
okay.
adults read Harry Potter too and stuff. They're
Oh
supposed to
yeah,
be
of
really
course.
good books. Yeah.
Actually, yeah, the lecture and some of what's happening is not necessarily for little kids,
Yeah.
but I mean, it's perceived because the character is young, but the theme is heavy at certain points. It's all about sometimes revenge, and I mean, it has a lot of feelings there, and we talk about it and we try to resolve them as we go. But yeah, the library has this special edition, so not only is the book, but it also has these beautiful illustrations.
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
there for the image, so, of
Yeah.
that series. Yeah,
Yeah.
recommend it. I think it's pretty good,
Okay.
what they did with that series.
Yeah, one of these days I got to start checking it out and reading it and stuff because everybody's told me that they're wonderful books and stuff. So,
Yeah, they take you to a different realm. So
oh, okay, okay, okay. You, um, I'm curious, because you're in the Sunnyvale Art Club, would you tell me about the yearly Sunnyvale Art Club art exhibition that's at the Sunnyvale Public Library?
Yeah, well, the Sunnyvale Art Club has been there more than I've been a member. However, it seems to be, an exhibition that repeats yearly, and the Sunnyvale Public Library opens their doors to us at that club to host this exhibition. It's a juried exhibition, and we just had it recently a few months ago during summer, late summer, and it was quite successful. We got 30 artists
Oh,
and
wow.
almost 90 pieces. We had a great judge. Everybody was happy to participate, whether or not you got a ribbon. We got great feedback. Almost 500 people
Yeah.
were a little bit less for 400. So we were counting, and so it was a good amount of people that were able to see our pieces, see our efforts, and connect. And from every ages and every status we saw. So from little kids, seniors, you know, people that are just passing by, locals. So it was, I think, a great effort. We all
Yeah.
were happy with it.
Yeah. So during the what's the duration? It's a weekend, right?
Yeah, that specific show, I think we booked for 3 days.
Mhm.
They let us stay with the space, which I know a lot of people need, and the same library requires, but they allow us since Friday to start setting, and then the public finds everything ready on Saturday by noon. The judge comes earlier to make sure that all ribbons are in place, and then we leave it one more day before breaking it down.
Yeah, yeah, that's cool. Is part of the reward just the interaction with the artists and just people? Because usually, when an artist does their stuff, um, they don't see the interaction. They don't see how it affects the art, the people who see it. But when you're in the library exhibition, it's right. They're right there and stuff. If the artist stays, they can hear people telling them, "We love your stuff," right?
Yeah, so it's great to have that feedback and to see people enjoying, just looking at any piece of art or commented on it. And sometimes they say, oh, this should have won, or that one, will be my favorite. We do have a people's choice. So we let everybody decide too,
Yeah,
uh, to see what's, the preference for, the audience that comes around. So it's always interesting to
yeah,
hear voices. You never, you know, like understand them all at once because everybody has a unique view. So it's good to have a place where they can interact and they can talk about it or agree with something. So yeah, it's always, any exhibition is great, but the library is because you have already, a quorum. There is people always flowing in and out. So it's great that they take a second and go check what's going on visually, right? Also at the library.
yeah, yeah. I have to do another disclaimer. I was in the Sunnyvale Art Club, and I participated in the public library art show, and I loved it and stuff.
Yes,
It's not often that you get that many people looking at your art, right? In such a
short
period
time.
of time. Yeah, in such a short
Yes,
time and stuff. So it's always cool and stuff. So yeah, I
yes.
loved it and stuff. So I think it was also a good time just to meet other people in the club and stuff. That was kind of cool. I made a lot of friends in those shows.
Yes, because sometimes the same members don't show themselves all the time because, life, etc. Even though we have monthly meetings, but a few people were interested and they joined the club through seeing the show. And so it's great to be exposing the club to this kind of events, especially this one again that it's within the community, and um, being interested in the arts, and we let them know what it is about. It's very accessible, to be
Yeah.
a member, and yeah, so we pull extras, more members.
Yeah, yeah. So, as a quick aside and stuff, how can somebody get to know more about the Sunnyvale Art Club?
Oh, we do have a website, the Sunnyvale Art Club, and I would say, that's the best way to go because we have all the information there,
Yeah.
and they can just join and participate at will. I think they are able to see a meeting before compromising. I think that's one of the possibilities, but they I think I can't remember exactly what's the fee right now for the year, but it is accessible. It's less than $50 per the full year, and you get
Oh,
a lot of benefits.
okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So, okay. So tell me, what has been your fondest memories of being in the library?
Well, again, I think my being a mother and being here in this area has bringing me a lot to the library. So one of the fondest was when my oldest, now 16, read her first few words
Oh,
at a
wow.
library. We were at a library, and she had since very young age good memory. She was maybe around 3, I want to say, but this time she grabbed a book that we haven't read together. That's how I noticed that she was actually reading, and she started saying the words that were
Oh,
in that board book. That was it didn't happen in Sunnyvale though.
oh,
Happened
I'm
in
sorry.
Los Altos because we were in one of those story times. But it's still, it was a great memory. It's like, oh my God, she's reading, after all the efforts of you, like reading every night, since birth, and then just see them kind of flow. And from there, my other 2 kids too, like it was a constant encouragement of words going, look at this book, look at the other. And that's the great thing about the library, because you can acquire certain amount, but there is a limit in your own space, right? Which the library doesn't have the same limitation, because they are about to have, like, that's the reason of being, to have all these, books and resources around. So
Yeah.
it's definitely great to see the kids enjoying that stage at the libraries.
Yeah. Yeah. The fondest, remember, it doesn't have to be limited to the Sunnyvale Public Library. It's just libraries in general and stuff.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Well, I'm glad. So most of your fond memories have to do with you as a parent and with your children.
Yes, I
Oh,
would say so. I mean,
okay.
I do still have my memories when I was doing my research back in the day.
Yeah.
Uh, but I think or maybe because it's fresher to me, um, for sure it's me and my kids at the
Okay.
libraries. They gave us such a peaceful time when you don't know what else. Okay, we're ready to entertain you, and then let's go to the library, and then it opens a full window of new activities and opportunities.
Okay. Okay. I'm curious. For you, why is a library important? And not just the Sunnyvale Public Library, but any library. Why is that important?
Well, there are so many reasons why libraries are important. First is the access of information, right? They have a vast selection, and you can just go and try to find something specific that is well backed up, because the problem with the internet nowadays is that sometimes you don't know where the source really is coming from. So even
Yeah.
though there is information, I think once it goes through stages of being at a book, that means that it has been you know
It's vetted.
reviewed, and
Yeah.
yeah, so it has more validation in my point of view. It also accepts people of all ages. That's something that rarely, places can do.
Yeah.
Normally they limit for, okay, you want to go here. I mean, there are others like churches, etc. But what I like is that it's a neutral environment, right? Like there is not necessarily a specific ideology. They allow all of them, and they
Yeah.
promote community.
Yeah.
I would say variety of discussions, whether you like it or not, but it's still open. They want to hear you. They want to hear your position. So the ideas flow, I would say, in libraries.
Yeah.
And it's just, in general, they support research when they need it. When the kids are looking for a specific article, you can get as much of internet as you want, which is great, and I'm glad that it's there. But you can always back yourself, your research, for more professional and special editions, right? That you don't find in many places. there have been a few special editions that I kind of collected through and went through, and they have this specific space, but it's available at the end. So yeah,
Yeah.
like all that, and close a community gather space, right? Like you can just go there, learn through the events. They have so many programs, and yeah, I think those are the key things, the sense of belonging that they allowed every person to become, right?
Yeah, yeah. Well, you were saying that about disinformation. I remember having a conversation with a librarian, and they specific the librarian. She specifically said that in the internet age and stuff with disinformation and and the rise and stuff, librarians play an important role in verifying facts and stuff.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
would say so. Yes.
yeah, yeah. So it's kind of crazy and stuff. But okay, okay. Well, okay, my last question to you and stuff. Okay. Um, what are your thoughts on a bond measure coming this November that proposes the construction of a new building for the Sunnyvale Public Library?
I would go and support it because
Yeah,
I mean, renovating is always great. They have hold for many years, but every time you renovate, you bring new ideas, new spaces,
yeah.
you know, even new additions. So I think it's time. I wouldn't mind to see it grow. It's always, again, we might have to work with while renovation is happening for a few months, but I think it's worth it to what it will bring later.
Oh, okay. Well, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution, and thank you for loving the library and for bringing your children, a new generation, to learn and love the library. Thank you very much.
Yes, my pleasure, and I hope they do that themselves, and that the libraries keep on going because we really need those community spaces,
Uh,
and with all the knowledge that goes with that.
okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Angela. Have a great day.